So so if it is PTSD, I wonder what the exact occurrence was. It must have been either spring break 2008 or early summer 2008. We've ruled out all possibility of rehabilitation in lieu of incarceration or any kind of criminal misbehavior as youth. It's too extreme. Someone talked to me. I was at the bodega not too long ago, and they heard my story somehow. I doubt it was from the tubes. It was probably from speaker in town. And I said, well, yeah, I had 3,600 risperidone, only because I had too much LSD 10 years ago. They said that's a little extreme, don't you think? And their eyes welled up, and they couldn't tell me anything. And then he mentioned, you know what might be good for you, or maybe not, the service. Uh, hours hours later, it was actually the next night. There was a crew of Navy men. They were in between 25 and 30 years old, and they came up to me and they said, "Thank you for your service, Mister Sir, Mister Sir, Mister Sir." Mr. Carlson, Mr. Sir, we know your whole life story, Mr. Sir, and thank you, Mr. Sir. I tried to piece that together over the course of the night, and it didn't work out. And then today, I woke with the startling, exciting news of Bush Senior had passed away. So I was going to drop my whole act about the script or whatever, kind of wondering is a PTSD, which cards exactly? Maybe I can work through it on my own. And wound up to some kind of homestead nonsense. I guess a gypsy grifter, the not from the trailer park, just waltzed into my backyard, made themselves at home. Was at the caravan, which is a little personal, but I mean, there was a presidential death today. What's that have to do with me? I mentioned Submariner Silva shook hands with the executive branch commanding officer, commanding in chief, the president himself, 53 years. And well, who is he survived? Who is he survived by? But my pa and I. Now, so who is? And I mentioned coworker earlier, Bush Pierce, is as well as George Bush Jr. So George Bush Sr. is survived by both of those two, as well as perhaps Barbara. It seems like every time I try and open up the article, it's another dramatic chain of events that wind up prohibiting. And it seems like every time I try and delve into answers as to for why the no, I lost that bet. The chances are it isn't brain cancer, but it could be. I'm not going to rule that out entirely. It's they every time I ask, they give me the same thing. It's a severe life-threatening membrane abnormalities. It isn't a mental illness. It might be a physical ailment, and it's not contagious. It's not HIV. Hell, it's probably not cancer either. Maybe it was a radiation leak, and their pills are their pills. Well, they are pills. Maybe it's a preemptive radiation medicine in case there were to be a leak. I would be in the safe zone, and then I could work for like CDC or something. I'm not sure. I had another few gambles, and I was going to put my chips on something. Unfortunately, slipped my mind, or my eyes welled so, where I couldn't bear to muster the words exactly. But it's true. It's been 3,760 days, and for a couple of those, for 2 years about, it was one every 12 hours with a dose administered to me weekly. Again, I'm not a technical patient. They keep telling me that this prescription is optional, and I remember now the soap opera. Oscar had a brain tumor, and he was wondering about the if he should take the medicine or not. I never caught up on the script. I've been kind of busy. The coworkers. Well, yeah. My granddad was the FBI for 45 years, and he took me to see Bill Clinton. I met Chelsea Clinton. Maybe we shook hands. Maybe we hugged. A little French peck on the cheek. And then in 2000, there was Grandpa, so Submariner Silva, that took me to the Coast Guard. This next May is the opportunity to meet Ivanka Trump, as well as Donald Trump. But Ivanka's closer to my age. She's 10 years older. I've always been more mature. Uh, when in Rome. And besides that, Ottilie Burbridge and Melvin Seals, December 27th, Capitol Theater, Portchester, New York, Garcia's Bar, East Coast home of the Grateful Dead. I've got tickets coming to me, and it's going to be a family affair instead of my brother and I on our own. So